Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video is for part 4 of the Natural History Cal. Natural History Cal is designed by Christina from A Spoonful of Yarn and is the Scheepjes CAL2020. In part 4 we're going to be making a series of motifs which will then be joining up and connecting to our main blanket. You see here is part of your main blanket that we had at the end of part 3. So in part 4 a lot of details are happening and I'll do my best to show them to you. Please remember that there are timestamps in the video description, if you want to jump to a specific part that you can easily find that starting point. The yarn that I'm using is Scheepjes Stonewashed yarn, which is one of the stonewash kits that's available. You could also have a color crafter kit. For part 4 specifically, you'll be using 2 different hook sizes, so please keep on checking which hook size you need when. In general, when you're doing the lace parts, you'll be using the smaller hook size, and for all of the other parts, you'll be using your larger hook size. So let's get started on part 4. The first motif we're going to make is the Geode motif, and of this motif you need to make 4 in total. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these motifs. I'll show you how to make this first one. Round 1 of the Geode motif. I have here color 1 and we're going to start with a magic ring. Now, we're going to do a treble and a chain 1, and for that we make a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 chain is the treble, and then 1 more, so you've got 4 chains in total. The repeat is a treble and chain 1, and that 5 times. So treble in the ring and chain 1. So that's 1. We do this 5 times. Treble, chain, that's 2. Treble and chain is 3. Treble, chain is 4, treble, and chain 1 is 5. Close the ring, so pull the yarn tail. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to break the yarn tail. And then close on the 3rd chain, and that is on there. Close on that 3rd chain. All still a bit small and weakly, but that is your first round. Fasten off. And there we go. Round 2. I have here color 4, and what you're going to do is in every treble work a puff stitch and chain 2s in between. Now working at the first puff stitch is going to be a bit, it's almost a bit tricky because you're going to have to work a puff stitch, but you don't know how high you need to work because the first one is a standing puff stitch. So I'm going to yarn over for the standing part, insert into a treble, and now you're going to have to kind of eyeball how high you pull this, because you need to pull this to the height of your average stitch. Like I say, you're going to have to eyeball this. This is a bit tricky. Then that's one, so yarn over, insert into the same position, and pull up. And you can see here this yarn over wants to roll over, so really hold on to that. So that's 2. Insert. That's 3. Yarn over again. And 4, and you really see I'm pulling up these loops, otherwise you're not going to have a nice puff. So that's 4, and the last one yarn over, insert and pick up that loop, and that's 5 times. And now you have 11 loops on your hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything, and as I pull through, just push up your hook a bit to get it through smoothly. So that was a standing puff stitch. and chain 1 to close everything together. Chain 2, 1, 2. So you're making 3 chains here in total. The first chain belongs to the puff stitch, and then 2 more chains to actually go to your next position. Now the next position, another puff stitch. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, and now really pull it up to the same height as your first puff stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, there are 11 loops there. Yarn over, pull through everything. Chain 1 to secure the puff stitch, and then 1, 2 chains to go to your next position. This you're going to repeat all the way around. So I'll show you once more, and then you can work the last 3 without me. So 1, pull up that loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull through, chain 1 for the puff stitch, and then chain 2 to get to your next position. I've now worked 3. You need to work 3 more, and then after the chain 2, close on your first stitch. I'll just show you that closing as well. But for now, work 3 more puff stitches. Just work the last puff stitch. So I've done a chain 1 on the puff stitch. That means chain 2. And then come to your first puff stitch. You see here's a chain 1, but you close on the first stitch. So on the puff stitch itself. Close on there. Oop, I just want to get on this side of the slip knot. And you'll see your work, well, cups a bit. Don't worry about this. When we make a few more rounds, it'll become a bit tighter and it'll flatten out. Fasten off and pull through. Round 3. I have color 2 on my hook here, and we're going to be working on this little cup we have. I'm going to start in the chain 2 space that's after the join. So here's the join. I'm going to start in the next chain 2 space, and we're going to start in there with a standing double crochet in this space. So in this space, standing double crochet, followed by 2 more double crochets in the same space. So 1 and 2. So now you've got 3 double crochets in this space. Now we're going to start the repeat. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work a front post double treble around the front, not the front post, but the stitch that's here from round 1. So you've got the puff stitch, and there's a treble that is made into. So twice over for the double treble, then come down and into that treble there, and then complete the front post double treble. Now we're going to work a front post double crochet around the puff stitch. Now just move your stitch to the side. You can really see the puff stitch, and I'm actually pushing it out with my finger. So around the puff stitch, so you're actually pinching the puff stitch in the process with a front post double crochet. Now we're going to come back and work another front post double treble around the same treble here that you already did this first one. I'm going to make a second one, and by doing so you're actually framing the puff stitch. So twice over, And I'm just going to fold over the puff stitch for the moment. So we'll make that puff stitch better in a moment. So I'm just going to work the front post double, treble. And now you see the puff stitch is kind of hidden in there. So just poke it through your stitches that you really have it to the front. Now come to the chain space here from round 2 and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. And 3. Now that's your entire repeat unit, starting so it's the front post double treble, front post double, another front post double treble, and then the 3 double crochets. That's your repeat. I'll show you the repeats again. So for this stitch, I'm going to work a front post double treble here. So yarn over twice. And then take off 2, take off 2, take off 2. Then around the puff stitch, a front post double. And now again a front post double treble around the same stitch here. So yarn over twice. I'm just going to work over the puff stitch because that's easier for the moment. 2, 3. And now I'm just going to push the puff stitch through those 2 spaces because I want it to the front. And then 3 doubles again in the chain space. 1, 2, 3. So now you've done the repeat 2 times. You need to do 4 more times. Here on your last repeat, after you've done your front post double around the puff stitch, close to your first stitch and fasten off. And this is your work at the end of round 3. At this point it still cups, but now it actually cups, the other way. So your work still cups, so don't worry about that. It'll straighten out as we continue. Round 4, color 3 on my hook, and we're going to start in the first front post double crochet. So this is the front post double crochet, the one that's around the puff stitch after the join. So you see there's the join, and then come to the first front post double crochet, the one that's around the puff stitch. And then we're going to start with a standing treble in that stitch. In the stitch that's in the puff stitch, work a standing treble. So that's a treble, and now work another treble in the same stitch. So you're going to have 2 trebles in that first stitch there. Now work a treble in the next 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3 stitches. We're now going to come down and work a triple treble in the chain 1 space of round 1. If you fold your work open, you see there it is. That's the chain 1 space. We're going to work into that. So triple treble. So once over is a treble, twice over is a double treble, 3 times over is a triple treble. Then fold your work to really get into that chain space. And make sure your hook stays in front of your work here. You don't want to cover everything like that. So into the chain space, make sure there you go. You stay in front of your work. Grab your yarn and complete the triple treble. 2, 3, and 4. That's a triple treble. Now we do not skip any stitches to the back, so immediately in the next stitch, it's going to be this double crochet here, work a treble, and also in the stitch after. That's the next stitch. This is the double treble, work a treble in there. Your next stitch should again be the front post double around the puff stitch, and work 2 trebles in there. So that's 1 and 2. And then this point is the same as that point, so you're going to repeat this all the way around. I'll just quickly show you the repeat once more. So in the next 3 stitches work a treble. So 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, fold open your work. You can really see that chain space there from round 1. I'll work the triple treble, and in the next 2 stitches, I think that's 1 and 2, work a treble on each, and then in the next stitch, which is again the front post double crochet, work 2 trebles, 1 and 2. Now work the repeat 2 times with you. Repeat this all the way around. When you get to your first stitch, close on that stitch and fasten off. Round 5, color 2 on my hook. We're going to start in the same stitch as the join in the previous round with a standing treble. So in the same stitch as the join, the standing treble, chain 2 and treble. This is your first corner made from the diamond shape that we're making in this round. Then the repeat. I'm going to do the repeat 2 times. First the one half, the top half of the diamond, well one half of the diamond and then the other half. Chain 1. I'm going to skip the next stitch and work a treble. Do that twice, so again chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and work a half treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and work a double treble. That was 2 times yarn over, 2, 3 times taking off 2 loops. Chain 2, skipping a stitch, and now we're going to work triple trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, skipping the stitch and work a triple treble. That's 1, chain 2, and another triple treble in the same space. So it's 3 times yarn over, and holding on to all of those loops is 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, chain 2, skipping a stitch, and then a double treble, so skipping a stitch and a double treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a half treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. We do this twice, so again chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and work a corner. So it's going to be a treble, chain 2 and a treble. And that was quite a stretch. and now you're at the same point here as where we started. You see this corner here is the same as that corner, and now you've worked half the diamond. Now all of this we repeat again. I will show you the repeat once more. Chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble. Twice, so again chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a half treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. Chain 1, skipping a stitch, we work a double treble, so 2 times yarn over, skipping a stitch, here's a double treble. Chain 2, skipping a stitch, we work a triple treble. So skipping the stitch, work a triple treble. So that's triple treble, chain 2, 3 times yarn over, and another triple treble. Now you've made the corner on the opposite side. Again, chain 2, a double treble, so I'm going to skip 1 stitch and then work a double treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a half treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and a treble. Chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble. Oh dear. The treble. Chain 1, skipping this last stitch here. You see in there you see the slip stitch, so don't worry, that's not a stitch, that's just a slip stitch. I didn't cover that stitch properly. So I'm going to skip this stitch and then of course omitting the final corner. So now I'm going to join on this first stitch here with a slip stitch. Also slip stitch to the corner space. And now we're ready for the next round because we're using the same color in round 6. And now if you just look at this, you can see you've made your diamond shape and you're ready for the next round. Round 6, we're going to continue with the same color yarn. Start with a chain 3 because you're currently in the corner space. Chain 3. This chain 3 is your first treble. Now 3 more trebles in the chain space. 1, 2, 3. So we've got 4 trebles in there in total. Chain 2. And now there needs to go in 4 more trebles. So I'm just going to move everything up to make room for 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the repeats, on the straight edge we're going to skip the first chain space, going to skip the first chain space and then come to the second chain space and work 2 trebles in there. Skipping the first space, come to the second. 1, 2 trebles. Going to do this 4 times. Also in the next chain space, 2 trebles. 1, 2. In the next space, 2 trebles. 2, and then the next space 2 trebles. 1, 2. You have one chain space left, and then we've got a corner. I'm going to skip the next chain space and then come to the corner. And in the corner we work again 4 trebles, chain 2 and 4 trebles. Skip the space, come to the corner, 4 trebles, 1, 2, 3, 4 trebles, chain 2 and then 4 more trebles, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And even though it's a diamond shape, you're going to repeat this edge and the corner on your other 3 edges also. And when we get here, you're going to close with an invisible join or a needle join. I'll show you again how to do that. But for now, repeat this edge and the corner on your other 3 sides also. And I'll see you here when you've worked your last set of 2 trebles. At the end of the round, I'd just like to show you the invisible join again. Cut your yarn. So this is after working your last treble. You have 1 chain space left. Open up that loop. Thread the needle on yarn. There you go. Going to skip the first stitch. So you've got here the chain 3. Going to skip that stitch and then come to the next stitch underneath. So this is the full stitch. So you skip the chain 3, come to the full stitch, and then come back, push in through the top to the bottom, and then close this stitch until it has the same size as those to the left and to the right of it. And now you can work away this yarn tail, and then you're all done with this round. Next round again a new color. Round 7, I have color 4 on my hook, and we're going to start in the corner space after the invisible join. And here's my invisible join. So there's the invisible join. It's going to start in the corner space after the join. In the corner, make a standing double crochet, chain 2 and another double crochet. That's your new corner made. For the repeat, on the first 4 stitches work a back post half treble around the first stitch from the back. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 4 back post half trebles. A double crochet in the next 8 stitches, and those are these center trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one here is 8. Your next 4 stitches again work a back post half treble. So those are these 4 corner stitches. You work a back post half treble. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain space, work a double crochet, chain 2 and a double. And this corner is the same as this starting corner. So along this edge, repeat 3 more times and then close on your first stitch and fasten off. Round 8, last round for this motif. I have color 1 on my hook, and we're going to start in the corner space after the join. So here's the join, that chain to corner space with a standing half treble. Standing half treble, chain 3, so this is a large chain corner, and again another half treble in the same corner. That's a large corner. Now the repeat. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain spaces, skipping 3 stitches. So here's the first stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches in the 4th stitch, so 1, 2, 3 in the 4th stitch, work a double crochet. And we're going to do that again, so 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, skipping 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and work a double crochet. Chain 1, and a treble in the next stitch, immediately in the next stitch. Chain 2, and again a treble immediately in the next stitch. Chain 1, and in the next stitch a double crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and work a double crochet. And now again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If everything went right, you have 1, 2, 3 stitches left, and then you're at the corner. So I'm going to skip those last 3 stitches, come to the corner space. Here you work a half treble, chain 3, so it's again a large corner, and a half treble in the same space. There you go. And this edge, so with a nice little detail here in the center, this edge, repeat on your other 3 sides also. And after your last double crochet, you're going to skip those last 3 stitches, close to your first stitch, and fasten off. When you're all done, this is your motif. Work away these yarn tails to the back. The second motif that you're making is the agate motif. This is a hexagon, and as you'll notice, it's asymmetrical. So if you're making it, you're thinking, "Hey, is this right?" Yes, it's right. You see this, the center isn't exactly in the center of the motif. So from this motif, the agate motif, you need to make 8 in total. So it's quite a few. I'll show you how to make this one. For round 1 of the agate motif, I have color 5 here. I'm going to start with a magic ring. Pull through again. There you go. Now, the stitches that we're going to be making, I'm going to start with a chain 3. Now this counts as your first treble. So that's your first treble. Now make 2 more trebles in the ring. That's 1 and 2. So I have 3 trebles in total. Chain 1. In the ring, 3 trebles again. So that's 1, 2, 3 trebles and a chain 1, and now we do that again, so 3 trebles in the ring. So at the end you're going to have 9 of these trebles, so that's 1, 2, 3 trebles again and a chain 1. Now I'm going to close the ring. Just find the yarn tail, close the ring. Always do this with just a bit of care that you don't break the yarn. There you go. And then close on the chain, on top of the chain 3. So here's the chain 3. I'm just going to close on the top of that chain 3. And flatten out my work a bit. And that's round 1. You can cut your yarn, fasten off. And now we're ready for round 2. Round 2, I have color 6 on my hook. And we're going to start in any chain space, doesn't matter which chain space you take. I'm going to take this one and start in that space with a standing double crochet. In the same chain space, another double crochet. Now going to work 2 double crochets in each of the next 3 trebles. So here's the first stitch, so you work 2 doubles in there, 2 doubles in the next, and 2 doubles in the last stitch. There you go. Come to the next chain space, this one here. In that chain space work 2 half trebles. 2 half trebles. On each of the next 3 stitches work 2 half trebles on each. Here this one is the chain, starting chain 3, so that one takes just a little bit of extra effort. And then 2 half trebles here in the center stitch. And 2 half trebles in the last stitch. I need a bit more yarn. And 2. At the next chain space, 2 trebles in this stitch, this space. 1, 2 trebles, and then come to the 3 stitches here, 2 trebles on each. So this round is completely asymmetrical, and that's correct. 1, 2, and the last one. 1 and 2. Come to the first double crochet, close on that stitch, and then you can fasten off color 6. And there we go. Round 3, I have color 7 on my hook, and we're going to start in the same stitch as the join. So I'm just going to insert in that double crochet that I have and start with the standing double crochet in that stitch. The repeat unit. I'm going to work 2 doubles in one stitch and then 1 double in the stitch after. So it's a small repeat. So in the next stitch work 2 doubles, so that's 1, 2, and in the stitch after 1 double crochet. And that's it. Repeat that all the way around. So in the next stitch 2 doubles, 1, 2, in the stitch after 1 double crochet. Show the repeat one more time. 2 doubles in the next, 1, 2, in the stitch after 1 double crochet. Go all the way around, so keep on repeating this, and on your last repeat you'll work 2 double crochets in your last stitch and then close on your first stitch, and then you can fasten off. Round 4, I have color 8 on my hook, and we're again going to start in the same stitch as the join, and this time with a standing treble. So yarn over, hold on to that, just in that starting double crochet from the previous round, start with a standing treble. In the stitch after, also a treble, and this stitch is a little hidden. Now we start the repeat unit. I'm going to work 2 trebles in the next stitch and then one treble, so it repeats over 3 stitches. So in the next stitch work 2 trebles. So 1, 2, and then 1 treble 2 times. So 1 treble and 1 treble. And that's the repeat. Those 4 stitches over 3, worked over 3 stitches. So again, the next stitch work 2 trebles, 1, 2, and then 1 treble and 1 treble. Repeat this all the way around, and you'll notice that when you finish this round that your work is very wavy. Don't worry about that. It'll flatten out itself later on as it gets into your blanket. But at this point, when you finish this round, your work will be a bit wavy. But continue the repeat, so 2 trebles and then 1 treble all the way around, and you're going to finish with 2 trebles in your last stitch and then close to your first stitch and fasten off. Round 5, last round of this motif. I have color 5 on my hook as well. You can really see how curly your work is at this point, so don't worry about that, that's normal. We're again going to start in the stitch with the join. We're going to start with a standing treble. So in that same stitch. Now, the repeat. We're going to be working in a hexagon in this round, so you'll have 6 sides at the end. The first repeat, a treble in the next stitch. That's 1 treble. The next stitch a half treble. The next 2 stitches a double crochet on each. It's 1, 2. The next stitch a half treble, so you're coming back up again. In the next 2 stitches a treble, 1 and 1. Chain 1. This chain 1 is your new corner, and then work a treble in the next stitch. And this treble is the same as the treble we started with. So this is the first edge of your hexagon. I'll show you the repeat again, and then you can do it without me. The next stitch a treble, following by 1 half treble, 2 double crochets, 1, 2, 1 half treble, and 2 doubles, 1 on every stitch. Trebles, 1 on every stitch. 1 and 2, because we're coming back up. Chain 1 and a treble on the next stitch. And now you've done the repeat twice. You can see here's an edge and here's an edge. So you're going to repeat this 4 more times, and here after your last repeat you'll do chain 1 and then close to your first stitch, fasten off, and work away all those yarn tails. When you've completed your last round, work away all your yarn tails, and then this is what your motif looks like. This is your first one. You need to work 7 more of these. The final motif we're making is the quartz motif, and this is just 2 rounds, so it's a nice, quick and easy motif. Again, from this one you also need to make 8 in total. I'll just show you these 2 rounds. Round 1 of the quartz motif. I have color 7, and we're going to start with a magic loop. You've done this before, so I'm assuming that you know how this works. Go to a chain 3. This is your first treble, and then in the ring work 15 more trebles, so you have 16 in total then. So in the ring, it's 1, 2, 3, continue until you have 15 like this, and 15. So that's 15 trebles plus a chain 3 at the beginning. Now pull the yarn tail, do it with care that you don't break the thread, and pull that closed, and then close on the chain 3. Now you can cut your yarn, because the next round is a new color. Round 2, I have color 4 on my hook. I'm going to start in the same stitch as the join with a standing treble, in that same stitch. Then the repeat. In the next stitch, work a treble, chain 2, 1, 2, and a treble in the next stitch. So immediately in the next stitch, you're not skipping anything. And this you're going to repeat all the way around. So treble, chain 2, treble. So that's a treble again. Chain 2 and a treble. So now you've done the repeat twice. And then, oh, I've got my yarn tails knotted, there we go. So that's again treble, chain 2, and immediately in the next stitch, treble. As you repeat this all the way around, you're going to make a little shape that's an octagon that has 8 corners. And I've just got a few more stitches, I'll just make them with you. So treble, chain 2, treble, again a treble, chain 2, and this little octagon, you then need to make 8 of these motifs. Chain 2, and this is the last repeat. So, treble. So on the next stitch, so you've got 1 stitch left, work a treble on there, chain 2, and then close here on the first stitch. And now you can also fasten off. So I'm going to cut my yarn and open up this loop. And at this point it's important to work away your yarn tails, and then you've completed your first motif. When you've worked away your yarn tails, this is what your little motif looks like. You've worked 1, work 7 more because you need to work 8 in total. We're going to be joining the motifs to make a corner shape. Now for every corner you're going to need 1 geode motif, 2 agate motifs and 2 quartz motifs. So each corner will consist out of these motifs, and now we'll be joining them up. For step 1 of joining everything together, I'm using the 3.5mm hook. So this is hook B for the stonewash kit. So it's the smaller hook that I'm using. And what we're going to be doing is, in step 1, is we're going to be joining this agate motif to this geode motif. And we're going to be joining any corner here to this point here, the bottom right if you're right-handed, the bottom left if you're left-handed, but actually it doesn't matter because we're going to be joining it in step 2 on the other side, so it doesn't really matter which side you start. But anyway, I'm going to be joining to this corner here, and what's important is the way this first motif, the geode motif, is laying, because you see this is the triple treble corner, so that's the long side. So I've got it right side up, and then I'm joining to this corner here. And the second motif, the agate motif, is asymmetrical, and it doesn't matter exactly how you join it, if you this way or that way, but if you're taking random corners and just rotate them on each motif and each corner, then you get a very playful effect. So I've got color 1 on my hook. This entire process is going to be with color 1, and I'm using the smaller of the 2 hook sizes for your kit. So I'm just going to zoom in and then we can start. So here's the agate motif. I have color 1 on my hook, and I'm going to start in any corner space. Doesn't matter which space you take. I'm going to take this one here and start in there with a standing double crochet. Chain 1. And now take the second motif. So this is the agate motif, and this is the point we're going to be joining to. Sorry, this is the geode motif, and this is the corner we're going to join to. So that bottom corner, you see, here's the triple treble corner. Then right in the center there, so the chain space here in the center, join in there with a double crochet. And what you'll notice is, as I'm doing this, is the wrong sides of the motifs are facing each other. I can show you that again, maybe that went a bit fast. So I've got the chain 1, then I've got the 2 motifs with their wrong sides together, and then go through that space and work a double crochet. Chain 1, and now come back to the agate motif and work another double crochet in this chain space where you already had the first one. So in that same space, work a double crochet. And now you've got the 2 really joined together. Now we're going to be working stitches around the agate motif. So you've still got the geode motif here, but it's just going to be dangling there for the moment. Now to continue, I'm going to work as a small repeat around this motif. And that's going to be a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And skip 3 stitches, and it's important, this first stitch here, this one might be slightly hidden, so that's 1, 2, 3 stitches. Then in stitch number 4 work a double crochet, and in the next stitch also work a double crochet. So there's stitches number 4 and 5 on the edge. Again, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now again come to the next chain space. It's going to be here, so you've got 3 stitches on this edge. I'm going to skip those 3 stitches and come to the chain space. In that chain space we work a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same chain space work another double crochet. And then this here, from the chain 4 up to that corner, I'm going to repeat that on these other 6 or 5 edges, I should say, also. So let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, then work 1 double and 2 doubles, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and here we have a chain space again, so that's a double crochet. Just need a bit more yarn. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3 chains, and again a double crochet. I'm going to repeat this on the next 4 edges, so exactly what you just done, repeat that 4 more times, and when you get here, after you've done your last double crochet, is a chain 4, and then close here on this very first double crochet, it's that one, close on there, and then you can also fasten off. At the end of step 1, this is what your work looks like. So you've got here the one and the second motif, and you've got all these stitches, especially around the second one, and there you've got it joined. So this is your work at the end of step 1. Now for step 2, we're going to repeat the process that we did in step 1, but now we're going to join the second motif here to the bottom left hand corner if you're right-handed, the other way around. We're going to be joining this motif to that corner space there. It's exactly the same process. I'll show you again, but this is the join that we're making. So still color 1 on my hook. Start in any corner, doesn't matter which corner. I'm going to grab this one with this standing double crochet. Chain 1, and then bring your motif, and you see that's the point where we're going to. There's the other join. Folding them with the wrong sides facing, go through the chain space and a double crochet. Chain 1, and now come back to the second motif, your agate motif, and another double crochet in the same chain space. Don't lose the loop. And now you've got this join made. Now we're going to work the same repeat all the way around as we did before. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, first double crochet, and on the stitch after, the second double crochet, then again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in your next corner space, double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again a double crochet. And this repeat here again repeats on your other 5 edges also. When you get to your first stitch, that first standing double, close on that stitch and again fasten off. End of part 2. Your work now looks like this, and now we can continue with the next series of motifs. The next step, we're going to have these two, the smallest motifs, the quartz motifs. We're going to join these to our corner shape, and we're going to join them to the opposite corner to where we are. We've joined them here on this corner, so on the opposite side. These 2 points, we're going to be joining these 2 motifs, and then you'll have this triangle shape. So first step is going to join this one, and then we'll repeat it on the other side as well. Step 3, so I have still color 1 on my smallest hook. And we're going to start in any chain space of the quartz motif with a standing double crochet. Then chain 1. Now we're going to join it to our work, and I've got here the first motif. So you see here's the shape, the quartz the shape 1, shape 2, and then you're going to take this opposite corner, so it's that corner, and then again with the back sides of the motifs against each other through the chain space and work a double crochet. Then chain 1. And now it's important we're not coming back to the same space. Going to, if you see here these two trebles, going to work in between the two trebles. In between the two trebles, work a double crochet. Then chain 3 and come to the next chain space and work a double crochet. Chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. Just move everything a bit here. That was the chain 3, and now again a double crochet between the space between the two stitches. So really between the two stitches. Work a double crochet. Chain 3, and this you're going to repeat all the way around. Chain 3, then a double crochet in the space, in the chain space, then chain 3 again, and now a double crochet between the two stitches, chain 3 again, and a double crochet in the chain space. This whole process I'm just going to repeat all the way around, and it goes nice and fast. I mean, this step really goes nice and fast, and when you're all the way around, I'm going to close on the first stitch. I'm just going to finish this with you because I'm almost there. Just and what you'll notice is everything keeps rotating on itself, and at this point that's not a problem, but in the next steps, when we start making corner shapes, when we really start working the next step of the corner shape, it's really important that you don't have any rotation here, because that things aren't double rotated on themselves, for example, that everything is the right side up but it still has a double twist. So that's something I'm going to have to pay attention to in the next few steps, but for now it's still okay. And then chain 3 again, double crochet between the stitches, chain 3 in the chain space, chain 3, and the last double crochet here between the stitches, and then chain 3, and then close on the first stitch here. There you go. Cut your yarn. I can just find my scissors. Cut your yarn and fasten off, and then that's the first join. This is where you are at the end of step 3, and for step 4 you repeat what you've done here exactly the same on the other side. This is really exactly the same process. So repeat what you've done on the one side on the other side, and then you've got 5 of these motifs joined, and then you've completed all 4 steps for one of your corners. And what you've done on this one corner, repeat 3 more times, because you need to do this on all your corners. So you see here's one, and here's also another one. So you need to repeat this. I've got 3, I've got another one somewhere. So you need to do this 4 times in total, that you've got 4 of these sets. And when you have that, work away your yarn tails, because it's easier now. Work away your yarn tails, and then we'll go to the next step of the corner shape. We're now going to work 2 rounds around the corner shape. So that's going to actually change the angle. It's going to become maybe a bit more like this. And we're going to start, if you're right-handed, in the bottom right-hand corner, and then we're going to work all 3 edges. So we're going to work a triangle. If you're left-handed, you'll start in the bottom left corner and then work your way up. So depending if you're left or right-handed, you'll be starting on the opposite side. So I'm going to start on this side, and if you're left-handed, you start on this side. And I'll swap the video so you won't notice that whether it's left or right-handed when we're actually crocheting. So start in the correct motif, and then so I'm going to zoom in, and then we'll take it from here, 1 stitch at a time. For the first round of the corner, you have the join on the agate motif. I'm going to count back 7 spaces. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In that space, start with a standing double crochet. Now we're going to work up on our motif. Chain 1, half treble in the next space. Chain 1, treble in the next space. Chain 1, double treble, just 2 times over. Chain 1, a triple treble, so that's 3 times yarn over. 2, 4. Now a chain 2, and now a quadruple treble, so that means 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to be making a lot of these long stitches. What's important is that you actually hold on to this first loop here, because this will, if you keep that loop small, so the first hook, that loop that's on your hook, then your stitch will also be nice and neat. So 4 times yarn over, come to the next chain space, and again complete the stitch, so taking off 2 loops at a time. 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to work a double treble in the next chain space of the agate. Okay, no, sorry, we're going to work a double this is a very difficult word, a quadruple treble 4 together over this chain space here on the quartz motif and the first chain space here on the agate motif. So on those 2 chain spaces, going to work a 2 together stitch, and it's going to be this long one with the 4 times yarn over. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. So your last chain space here on the quartz motif. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops. Now we stop. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and then come to this first chain space here on the agate motif. Insert your hook, and again really hold on to all of those loops. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops. So try not to hold them a bit. You've got 3 loops on your hook, take them all off. You see here, if I just pull my yarn tails away, how this brings your quartz motif and your agate motif closer together, so you can change the angle between the 2. We're going to continue now on the agate motif. In the next chain space, that's this one here, a double treble. So 1, 2 times yarn over, double treble. Chain 2, and next up should be the corner space on the agate motif. Work a double crochet in there. Chain 3, a double crochet in the next chain space. So that's this one here. Chain 3 again. I'm going to skip the next double crochet. So now I've got these two doubles. I'm going to skip the first one and then come to the second and work a double crochet in that stitch. Chain 3, double crochet in the next chain space. Chain 3, and then a double crochet in the next corner space. So here's the corner of the agate motif in there, in that corner space, a double crochet. Chain 2, only 2 chains. Next space, a double treble, so twice over. 1, 2, 3. Now again, a quadruple four. It's a very difficult word. This long 2 together stitch over the last chain space in the agate motif and the first chain space here on your geode motif. So those two there. So 2 times. So 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do that 2 times. Your last chain space here on the agate motif. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come to your first space here on the geode motif. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 3 loops that you're going to take off in one go. And again, that brings these two nicely together. So now we're going to continue on the geode motif. In the next chain space, I'm just going to rotate everything a bit. The next chain space here, work a double treble. So 2 times yarn over, and there a double treble. Chain 2, only chain 2. And next up, you should have a corner space on your geode motif. A double crochet in there. Chain 3. And then come to the next chain. Oh, let me just grab that back. There you go. And now come to the next chain space and work a double crochet. We're going to do this 5 times. So that was 1, 1, 2, 3, and next chain space 2, 1, 2, 3. The third chain space we're working into is here right in the middle. So that's this stitch here in the middle. 3, then 1, 2, 3. Come to the next chain space, and then 1, 2, 3. Your last chain space, double crochet. Again, chain 3, and now your next space should be the corner stitch here. Corner stitch on your geode motif, and there we're going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. Now we're going to come back. So now you've basically worked your first edge. Now we're going to come back down and work the second edge. And this is basically in reverse order. So again, chain 3, and then the next space, double crochet. Do this 5 times again. So that's 1, chain 3, the next space, 2, chain 3, your next space, which should be again right in the center. It's number 3, double crochet, 1, 2, 3 chain, come to the next space, is number 4, and then 1, 2, 3 chain, is number 5. again chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then your next chain is here in the corner. Your next double crochet is in that corner space. Chain 2, only chain 2. Then again in the next chain space a double treble, so it's twice over. 1, 2, 3, a double treble. And now again a quadruple 4 together. So a quadruple 2 together. Yeah, I find this a very difficult word. Over the last chain space of the Geode motif and the first chain space here. So this first one here, that one there on the Agate motif. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. So grab then the last chain space on the Geode motif. 4 times yarn over, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, come to the next space, so the first space on the Agate motif, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off loops, 3 loops on your hook again, so you're really going to become an expert on this stitch. Take it all off. And now we're going to again continue on the Agate motif. In the next chain space a double treble, just twice over, and a double treble. Chain 2, then in the corner on the Agate motif here, work a double crochet. Chain 3, a double crochet in the next chain space, this one here. Chain 3, skipping a bit more yarn. You've got 2 double crochets here. I'm going to skip the first one, then come to the second and work a double. Chain 3 again, next chain space, double crochet. Chain 3, next up is a corner space again, double crochet in that corner space. Chain 2, and then again in the next chain space a double treble, so twice over, then a double treble. And now we're ready to join, now we're ready to join to the quartz motif again, and we're going to do that in the same way. So that long stitch, that quadruple treble 2 together, in the last chain space on the Agate motif and the first chain space here after the join, that's going to be that space there on the quartz motif. So 4 times yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, come to the last chain space on the Agate motif, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and come to your first available chain space here on the quartz motif, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and take all your loops off in one go. There you go. In the next chain space work a long stitch, a quadruple treble, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and in the next space, and I can just complete the stitch. 2, 3, oh, I've got my yarn tangled around my finger. 3, 4, 5 times yarn over. Chain 2. The next space a treble, 2, that's 3 times yarn over. 3, 4. Chain 1, and the next chain space a double treble, so it's only yarn over twice. 2, 3, and we continue with again a chain 1, and then in the next chain space a treble, chain 1, next chain space a half treble, chain 1, need more yarn, and then the next chain space a double crochet. And now you've in essence completed the second edge of this of this corner shape, because now we're going to create a corner over the next two chain spaces. I'm going to start with a chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to work a long stitch, so again a 4 times yarn over stitch, a 4 together. So we're going to work 2 legs in the first chain space and 2 legs in the second chain space, and that's on the 4 times yarn over stitch. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, then come to the next chain space, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops. Again 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over in the same chain space, set your hook, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, come to your next chain space, so this is the next space, set your hook, and again take off 2 loops 4 times, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. My yarn is really going fast with these long stitches. In the same space, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 5 loops on your hook. They're all going to go off in one go. And then this is in essence your new corner. If you put the motif down when you're finished, you'll see it. This is at the outer edge. Chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We rotate everything a bit. Come to your next chain space and work a double crochet. And now we're really going to work along the bottom of the motif. So I just need to rotate everything again. So now for the third and final, but third edge. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. The next space a double crochet. I'm going to do this 3 times. That was 1, 2, 3. This is 2, 1, 2, 3. The next chain space, another double, that is 3 times. Chain 3, 2, 3. The next chain space a half treble. You have 1 chain space left, so just chain 1. 1 chain space left. We're going to again work the quadruple 2 together stitch over this last chain space here on the quartz motif and the first chain space on the agate motif. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over in that last chain space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and the first chain space on the agate motif. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Take them all off. Now, we're getting there. Next, we're going to again work on this around the agate motif. A double treble, that's twice over, in the next chain space. It's that space there. 1, 2, 3 times. Chain 1. And now it's the corner space. In the corner space a treble. So this is different than before. Work a treble in the corner space. Chain 3. Now that's the same. Now I come to the next chain space and work a treble in the chain space. chain 3. Again, you have your 2 double crochets. I'm going to skip the first one, come to the second. In that second, work a treble. Chain 3. Next chain space, this chain space, work a double treble. 1, 2 times yarn over. Chain 3. And next up should be the corner space, again a double treble in there. Chain 1, the next space, which is here, this chain space, a triple treble, so it's 1, 2, 3 times yarn over. In that space, triple treble, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn overs. And now we're at a 2 together stitch again. The last chain space on the agate motif and the first chain space on the geode motif, so that's that long 2 together stitch again. We're getting there, not too long anymore. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over in that last chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Come to the space on the geode motif and 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. All 3 loops go off in one go, and that really joins them nicely together. We continue on the geode motif with a triple treble, so 1, 2, 3 times yarn over in the next chain space. 2, 3, 4, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and next you should be at the corner on the geode motif, and there work a triple treble, so it's 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, insert in that stitch in the corner stitch, 2, that's a triple treble, chain 3, and again a triple treble. 3 times yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops. So that was a triple treble, chain 3, triple treble in the corner space on the geode motif. Again a chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next chain space on the geode motif, again a triple treble. So 3 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's quite it's a nice and lacy corner or corner point that you made there. Now we have a quadruple 2 together stitch again on the last chain space on the geode motif and the first chain space on the agate motif, so over those 2 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Grab the last chain space here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and then come to the next chain space here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and take all 3 loops off, and then you've joined these 2 up. We now continue again on the agate motif. Then in the next chain space a triple treble, so 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, and in the next chain space that's then a triple treble. Chain 1, and now you should be at the corner space of the agate motif that gets a double treble, so only yarn over twice. Chain 3, just write rotate everything a bit again. The next chain space, this chain space gets a double treble also. Chain 3, and now we're at the 2 double crochets. Going to skip the first one, and then the second work a treble. Oh, the end is in sight, we're almost there. Chain 3, a treble in the next chain space. Chain 3. The half treble should be now in your next corner here, the corner on the agate motif. That should be a half treble. That's where you should be now. Chain 1. The next chain space, a double treble. So 1, 2 times over. Now your last long stitch, connecting the agate motif to the first chain space here on the quartz motif. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, come to this last chain space on the agate motif. 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and come to your next, this first available chain space on the quartz motif. 2, 3, 4. Take all 3 off, and now you've connected them together. Chain 1. In the next chain space, a half treble. So we're continuing again on the quartz motif. Chain 3. A double crochet in the next space. Going to do this 4 times. That was 1, 2, 3. This is 2, 1, 2, 3 chain. The next space is, that was 3, yes, 3. So 1, 2, 3 chain, and then this is double crochet number 4. Yes. Now we're going to work that long corner again. So the chain 8, the quadruple 2 together, and then a chain 8, quadruple 4 together, I should say. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 8. Over these 2 stitches, the same as on the other side. So it's 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 4 times yarn over, insert in the same position, take off 2 loops at a time, 4 times, again 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, come to your next chain space, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and repeat 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over in the same space, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, 5 loops on your hook, take them all off. Chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, chain 8. Now come to your first stitch. That's going to be this double crochet here. We're going to join on that stitch. Cut your yarn, fasten off, and just take a look at what you've made, because this was quite an edge. And this is where you're at the end of round 1. We're now going to add a second round around this corner, and again this second round is also very detailed, so I'll show you each and every stitch. So round 2 of the corner shape, still have color 1 on my hook, and where we're going to start is here on the outer edge. See, here's the join, this join we just made after the chain 8, and then here the this big stitch, this quadruple fold together, going to start in that stitch. So that means here in the top of the stitch. And we're going to start with this standing quadruple treble. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Hold on to all of your loops. Insert into the stitch that you need. So that's that 4 trebles, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, take off 2 loops. Chain 2, and now in the same stitch again a quadruple treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and insert into the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, taking off 2 loops. And this is, yeah, it looks a bit like a new corner. It's not completely true, but it looks like it. We're now going to move on and come to the chain 8 space. So in this space we're going to work a number of stitches, starting with 2 quadruple trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and come into the chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, take off 2 loops, and another one. We want 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those were 2 quadruple trebles, then 3 triple trebles. So that's 3 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, taking off 2 loops. 2, 3, 1, 3 of these stitches. Everything's still in the chain 8 space. And again 3 times yarn over. 4, there we go. So I've got 3 triple trebles and also 3 double trebles. So that means it's only 2 times a yarn over. 2, and it's 1, 2, and 3. All of those stitches in the same chain 8 space. You're now going to move along the edge, and in the next 5 chain spaces, going to work 3 trebles in each. So here's the join, going to skip that, then come to the first space. In this space work 3 trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's one space, and come to the next space. 1, 2, 3 trebles. Again the next space. 1, 2, and 3. Again the next space. 1, 1, and 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 groups, so I need one more. This is this group here. This is the last group of 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. We're now going to come to the, I just want to get my yarn tails here out of the way. You can really see what I'm doing. So those were the 5 sets of 3 trebles. We're now going to come to the 2 together stitch. That's this stitch here, the quadruple 2 together, and work 3 double trebles in that stitch. So 1, 2 times yarn over. So in the 2 together stitch. That's 1, 2, that's 3 2 together stitches, or 3 double trebles in the 2 together stitch. We're now going to move again to the chain spaces, and in the next 5 chain spaces we again work 3 trebles in each. So you're going to skip this stitch and come to the chain space, and that's 1 2 3. That's 1. We're going to do this again 5 times. Next chain space, 1 2 3. This round is again a big yarn eater. 1 2 3. So now I've done it 3 times, so 2 more. 1 2 3. The last one here. 1 2 3. So you see 1 2 3 4 5 times 3 trebles. In the next chain space, this chain space here, this one here, I'm going to work 3 double trebles. Here's your next chain space. That's 1 2 3. Sorry, those were trebles. You're supposed to work double trebles. I'm just going to take those out. Just twice over. 1 2 3. So 3 double trebles in this space. You really need to keep your mind on the pattern because there's just so much happening. So it was 5 times 3 trebles and now 1 time a double treble. We're now going to work a double treble 2 together, and we do that over the long 2 together stitch here, so in that opening, and the chain space, and that's going to be this opening here. So twice over, then insert into the 2 together stitch, it's in there, take off 2, take off 2, and again 2 times over, and now come to the chain space, take off 2, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, they all go in one time. We're going to move again on, and now we are more or less above the geode motif, and we're going to work 3 trebles again in the next 6 chain spaces. So that means that here's the first chain space, that's 1 2 3 trebles, then come to the next 1 2 3 trebles, and again, so it was 2 groups, so it's 6 times 3, but I'm going to show you each and every stitch on this round. So it's such I could do a jump in the video here, but I'm just going to show you every stitch because there's just so much happening. But I'm going maybe just a little bit faster here. So that's 4 times, 1 2 3 4. So these last 2 chain spaces I've still got left. 1 2 3, and the last one, 1 2 3. If you look at where you are right now, you've now done 1 2 3 4 5. Oh, 1 2 3 4 5 6. I can't count. 6 times 3 trebles, and your next stitch here should be, if I rotate everything again, the corner here at the top of the geode motif. And in that corner, I'm going to work 3 trebles, chain 2, and 3 trebles. So in that corner space here in the corner, 3 trebles, so it's 1, 2, 3 trebles, chain 2, and again 3 trebles, so 1, 2, and 3. There you go. So 3 trebles, chain 2, and 3 trebles. Now I'm just going to rotate everything again, and now we're again going to come along the next edge, and now we're basically going to do everything we just did but in reverse order. So above the geode motif, in the next 6 chain spaces, work 3 trebles in every stitch. So this is your second edge that we're just starting here. It's not quite a triangle we're making, but it does resemble one a little bit. It's 1, 2, 3. You can really see how this shape is going to fit onto your onto the round pattern that you already have from part 3, to make a square. So you're really filling out the corners with this shape. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3 trebles. So I need 2 more, and I need more yarn. And 1, 2, 3, and here's the last one. 1, 2, 3. So now you've worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3 trebles, and in the next chain space we work 3 double trebles, and this time 2 times yarn over. It's a double treble. It's 1, twice over for the second, twice over. Yeah, just do that again, twice over. There you go. So 3 double trebles in the chain space. We're now going to work a double treble 2 together again, and again over the long stitch, the long 2 together stitch here, so in that space, and in the chain space. So again, that opening there. So twice over in the long stitch, take off 2, take off 2, then twice over, and come to the chain space here, twice over, and that's the chain space, and then take off 2, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook that you're going to take off in one go. Now you're above the agate motif again, where you're going to work 3 trebles in the next 5 chain spaces. So here's your first chain space. That's 1, 2, 3 trebles, and this is again a bit of an these stitches are relatively easy. It's some of the other stitches that can be difficult. Where exactly do you insert your hook, into which loop, into which stitch? And the fact is, these corner shapes, they are difficult, and they are just a lot of work, and it's really easy to make a mistake here. So don't get discouraged, just stick with it, one stitch at a time. I'm sure you can do this. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 treble groups, so I need one more because we need 5. And here in the next space work 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 3 trebles. In the next, I just need to rotate everything a bit here. In the next stitch, we're going to work 3 double trebles here in the 2 together. So in the long 2 together stitch, going to work 3 double trebles. Twice over. So in that 2 together, so that's 1, 2, 3 times. Oh, 3 times the 2 together stitch, and now again 3 trebles in the next 5 chain spaces, and that'll bring us here to the corner shape where there's again a lot happening. So in the chain space, this is your next chain space. Let's see if I can get the angle right. So 3 trebles, so that's 1, 2, 3. Next chain space, 1, and also it's a bit difficult for me. The shape isn't exactly straight, and then it's difficult to say, okay, how can I best hold it that you can see what I'm doing. 2, 3, 2 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so I have one more. You see here this says little chain space in there. That's space number 5. It's very easy to miss it. I think you don't have one left. Now you've got the chain 8. There's one little chain space here, this one. That's 1, 2, and 3. So that was 5 times 3 trebles. We're now going to work into the chain 8 space again. So here you've got the big chain 8 opening. Again, a lot of stitches in there. Starting with 3 double trebles. So it's twice over. So this is similar to what we did on the other side. I have to work 3 double trebles. It's twice over. 3 of those. Then 3 triple trebles, so that's 3 times yarn over. It's 1, 2, 3. So 3 double trebles, 3 triple trebles, and then 2 of those quadruple trebles. 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times taking off 2 loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You're really going to be an expert at these long stitches. And that was 2. We're now going to come to the corner stitch here. So this big 4 together stitch, and in there we work a quadruple 4 together. A quadruple treble, chain 2 quadruple treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, insert into this stitch, and work 1, 2, 3, 5 times, take off 2 loops, chain 2, and repeat the same stitch. So 4 times yarn over in the same position. So this is again going to look a bit like a corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, take off 2 loops. I'm going to rotate my work again, and now we've got the bottom edge. So we've got one more edge left. Chain 4, 3, 4, and now we're going to work. If you have your work like this, here's the chain 8 space, and here's the long stitch you just made. This is that quadruple 4 together. We're actually going to work into this space where I've got my finger in right now. So it's almost like around that quadruple treble, as though it were a chain space. So I'm going to work a double treble in there, so twice over, a double treble, chain 3. You do this 3 times, so that was once, so yarn over 2 times, insert into this same edge, let me put it that way, so that's, you see it's just next to it, and chain 3 again, Again, yarn over twice and insert into that space and chain 3. And now you see that's what you just worked along the edge of the stitch. Now we're going to come to the chain 8 space and work in here the same. So double, treble, chain 3 and do that 3 times. So twice over. 1, 2, 3. So that's in the chain 8 space. Chain 3, of course. That's 1. Twice over. Insert. Oh dear. Let me just do that again. 1, 2, 3. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3. No, 2 times yarn over. It's 2 times yarn over and chain 3. So 2 times yarn over because you want a double treble and a chain 3. So you really need to keep paying attention, and these rounds you don't do them with the TV on, that's going to go wrong. So really focus on this round. So you've got 3 double trebles and a chain 3. We're going to finish with a treble in the same chain 8 space. So a treble in this space. Chain 3, there are a lot of chain 3s. And a double crochet in the next space. That's here. In this space, work a double. Do that 4 times. So that was 1. 1, 2, 3 chain. And this is double number 2. 1, 2, 3. And double crochet number 3. 1, 2, 3. And I believe this is double crochet number 4. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Chain 3. And a half treble in the 2 together stitch. So here's the long 2 together stitch, in there a half treble in this stitch. In there a half treble. Chain 3 and then a treble in the double treble. So this here is a double treble, so that's the next stitch. In there a treble. Chain 3. We're going to skip the next chain stitch space, so that's this one. I'm going to skip that and then come to the second space and work a half treble. So I'm going to skip this, come to the next, so half treble, chain 3. Let me do this 2 more times. So the next space a half treble, chain 3, and again in the next space a half treble, chain 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3 half trebles. In your next space, work a treble. Yeah. Treble. Chain 3 again. That's, like I say, a lot of chain 3s. And then a double treble in the next space. So twice over. And your next space is here. Work a double treble in there. Now only a chain 1. I'm going to work a triple treble between the treble here and the long 2 together. So in this space here, work the triple treble. So 1, 2, 3 times yarn over in that space. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, chain 1, and now a triple treble in the space between the two legs here of the long stitch, so in there where my finger is now, that's where you're going to make the triple treble. 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, insert, so really like, yeah, in between those two, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, chain 1, and we come to the next space. It's going to be this space here. In that space a long stitch, so quadruple treble, so 4 times yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the opening here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times yarn over, chain 1, and now you should be in the chain space that's really above in the center of your geode motif. So this is like, so you're going to be making a corner in this corner with a long stitch, chain 1 and a long stitch. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, insert in that chain space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, take off 2 loops, chain 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and insert into that same space, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times yarn over. This chain space that you just made, mark it with a stitch marker, so this chain 1, and that has to do with aligning this to the circle, so that's why that you know that your stitches line up properly. So just mark that chain space, chain 1 of course, and then a long stitch again in the next chain space, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, come to the next chain space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, take off 2 loops, chain 1, and a triple treble in the 2 together stitch. So here you've got the 2 together stitch, so in that stitch a triple treble, so that's 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times, take off 2 loops. We're getting there, we're getting there. Chain 1, one triple treble in the next stitch, so that's this stitch here, so 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, so in the triple treble, work a triple treble, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, a double treble in the chain space, twice over, it's a double treble, 2, 3, chain 3, and a treble in the next chain space, chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and a half treble in the next space. I'm going to do that 3 times. So 1, chain 3, a half treble in the next space, that's 2, and chain 3, and a half treble in the next space, 3, chain 3, and a treble in the double treble. So you're going to skip this chain space, then come here to the double treble, just move everything a little bit. So this skip, you're going to skip this stitch, going to skip the chain space, then come to the double treble, that's before the long stitch, and there we work a treble in the double treble, so in that stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a treble in the 2 together stitch, in the large 2 together stitch, a treble. I'm going to skip the next chain space, that's going to be this one here, and then come to this stitch, that space there. We're going to be working again chain 3s and double crochets. So 1, 2, 3 chain space, 3 chains, then come to that second space. That's 1, you're going to do this 4 times, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and the next one, that's 2, and then 1, 2, 3 chain, come to your next, 3 and 1, 2, 3 chain, and this one should be your last chain space. That's number 4. 4 double crochets, chain 3s in between. Chain 3, and now we're here in the chain 8 space. Start with a treble in the chain 8 space. Almost there, just a few more stitches. You've had the worst already. Chain 3, and in the chain space a double treble, 1, 2 times yarn over, so in the chain 8 space. So once, I'm going to do this 3 times again, so that was 1, chain 3, this is 2, chain 3, and this is 3. That's what it looks like at the moment. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to work a double treble on the side of this quadruple stitch. So here I'm poking my finger through that. So if you look at it from this side, it almost looks like a chain space, but so around this stitch. So again, 1, 2 times yarn over, 2, 3. So that was 1. Again, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And insert, and 1, 2, 3, twice over, and in the same position. 1, 2, 3. So now you have them kind of on the side here. At the beginning, here's the starting stitch. So I'm going to do a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you can join to the very first stitch. Here's your standing stitch that we started with. You can join to that stitch. There you go. You can fasten off. I can't find my scissors, so I'm just going to do it like this. And then open up that loop. And then you're finished, and let's just have a look what it looks like at the moment. And this is what your work looks like. You now did one corner. This whole exercise with these corner shapes you need to do 4 times. So on all 4 your corner motifs. So make 4 of these, and then when you've done that, we can join this to the circle that we've already made in part 3. We're going to place a few markers. The first marker we're going to place is relative to the marked stitch you already have on your blanket. Remember on the blanket at the end of part 3 you made a join and then you marked that stitch. Now that's here. Now you're going to count 67 stitches on. And in the 67th stitch, and that's quite a stretch, mark that stitch. I've actually placed 2 markers in that stitch. And this will be, if I try to fold it open, see here's the corner of the blanket, of the main square, and if you come up, it'll be above, so above this corner. That's where this marked stitch is. So you've got this straight line here. When you've marked this stitch, you're also going to mark a few other stitches, but this is an important point because here we're going to start. And you can also now remove the first mark. You can take this one off, and we're going to take this as our relative point. You're now going to be placing a few more markers. Here's the marked position where we're going to start, so that's where I've got the 2 stitch markers. Then you count forward 64 stitches, and stitch number 64, that one you mark. This position is going to line up with one of the marked stitches on your corner spaces. Remember the corner shapes we marked the stitch? They're going to line up here. At least that's the goal. Then you count forward again 129 stitches, and that's quite a stretch. 129, and mark that position. That's also going to line up with the corner. Then again 129, mark that position, and again counting forward, 129, and then you're all the way around because you're almost back at the first position. So at this point you're going to have 5 positions marked, a starting point and 4 places. Take the time to do this. So after your marked position it's 64 and then it's 129. Mark all your stitches, and then we can get started with joining those corner shapes, these beautiful corner shapes, joining them to our blanket. Round 65. In this round there's again a lot happening, and I'll do my best to show you. We're going to start in the stitch that was where I put the 2 stitch markers in. That's why I did 2 here, that I can easily see. Okay, that's where I need to start. I'm going to start there with a standing treble. Insert in that stitch with the standing treble. You can remove the markers, but I'm just going to leave them. Now we're going to start the repeat. You're going to do the repeat 4 times, and during each repeat you'll be joining one of the corner shapes. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then work a treble. I'm going to do this 8 times. So that was 1, chain 1, skip a stitch, 2, chain 1, skip a stitch, 3, chain 1, skip a stitch, 4, chain 1, skip a stitch, 5, chain 1, skip a stitch, 6, chain 1, skip a stitch, 7, like I said, we needed to do this 8 times. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we need one more. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and a treble. So that's 8 times. Chain 1 again and skip a stitch, but now we work a double treble. Skipping the next stitch, work a double treble. This we do twice. That's 1, chain 1, skip a stitch, and a double treble. Chain 1, and now we're going to join to the first corner shape. So I've just got my yarn in a tangle here. I'll take one of your corner shapes, and here's the corner shape, and where we're going to start is on the inside edge. So here's the marked stitch, follow the inside edge, and we're going to take the first chain 3 space. Now where is that? See, here's the join. There's the slip stitch join. Then you have here where my finger's poking through a chain 4 space. You don't want that one. You want the one next to it. That's a chain 3 space. That's the one we need. So that space here, where my hook's poking through, I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Look at it from the top. See, this is the second. Well, my yarn tail's maybe in the way. So this here is a chain 4 space, and that's the next space. It's the one you need. I'm going to leave my corner space, my corner shape, just a bit here at the top, so it'll take a loop every time we need one. So that was the slip stitch. That was the first join. You've made a start. then chain 1, and now we're going to come down and skipping one stitch here on round 64. We're going to be skipping a lot of stitches. Skipping one stitch, then come to the next and work a treble. Skipping that stitch, work a treble. Again, chain 1 and a slip stitch in the next chain space. So we're immediately going to come up to the next chain space and work a slip stitch in there. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now on round 64 on the main blanket, going to skip 4 stitches and then work a double. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 skip and then work a double. Chain 1, and now we're skipping 2 chain spaces. So I'm going to skip that space and then come to the next. So this space here. So I'm going to skip 2 chain spaces and then come to the next one. Just want my yarn the other way and work a slip stitch. See there, I've skipped 2 chain spaces. Then chain 1. And now come down, and in the same stitch we already have that double crochet, going to work another double in there. So in that same space. Now I'm going to work a small repeat, and which we'll do 4 times. I'm going to start with a chain 2, skipping 3 stitches on the blanket. So it's 1, 2, 3 stitches skip. The next stitch, work a double, so it's 1, 2, 3 skip and a double. Chain 1, skipping the next stitch or next chain space. So this one we're going to skip and come to the following chain space and join that one again with a slip stitch. Chain 1. Come down and work a double crochet in the same space. So this little set of stitches is going to do that 3 more times because we need to do 4 times in total. So that's chain 2, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, a double crochet, chain 1, skipping, so you're going to skip again the next chain space. So you see I'm skipping that one and come to the one after. On the corner shape, slip stitch, chain 1, then come down and work a double crochet in the same position. So that was repeat number 2. Again, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, work a double, chain 1, and again let me just check, we're going to need to skip 1 chain space, so where my thumb is poking through, that's the chain space we need. Just go that, whoop. If you can't see, we'll just open up your work. See, oh, there's a chain space, just skipping that, take the next one, so that one's the one we need. And this just really 1 stitch at a time, no rushing this. Chain 1, come down and work a double crochet in that same chain space. Now you've done 3 times. So once more, chain 2, skip 3 stitches, that's 1, 2, 3 skip, and work a double, chain 1, and again skipping 1 chain space. I'm going to skip that space and then come to this one, work a slip stitch, chain 1, come down in the same stitch, work a double. So that was 3 times on the repeat. I'm going to do a similar repeat, but I just need to move my work, and it's really getting hard to get everything in front of the camera and not bump the camera. So now we're going to do the same kind of repeat, only the number of chains are going to be different. Here we still start with a chain 2, skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, skip, and a double crochet. Now a chain 2, so chain 2, again skipping the next chain space and come to the second, so we're going to skip that chain space and come to the space after with the slip stitch, chain 2, so that's different, and then come down to the same position for a double crochet. Chain 2 again, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, work a double. Now we're going to do 3 chains, so 1, 2, 3 chains, skipping this chain space, come to the next. See how we're continuously skipping one chain space, then come to the space after with a slip stitch, chain 3, because you need to come back down, and double crochet. Again, chain 2, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, double crochet, and now we're going to do a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, skipping again the next chain space, and now we really need to pay attention because this is the one here we worked, that's a chain space, and that's the one we need. So here where this finger is, there where my pinky is, that's the chain space you need, because these are all little chain 1 spaces and they all count. So be sure to, so this is your first chain space that we're going to skip and then come to the second with a slip stitch, then chain 4 again, come down and work a double in the same position. Chain 2, because we're again going to skip 3 stitches, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, skip, and a double, and again 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, again skipping the next space, and now you really need to pay attention again, because you see that space we're going to skip, and we're going to grab that one, the one that's next to the marked chain space. So grab that chain space, slip stitch, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and now come down and a double crochet in the same position. And now we're going to be connecting the marked positions. Chain 3, this is important, 1, 2, 3, so now it's chain 3 and we skip 4 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and then the stitch that you work in should be the marked stitch, or a marked stitch, let me put it that way. Double crochet in there, chain 2, and then in your next chain space on your motif, on your corner shape, should again be the marked stitch, a slip stitch in there, chain 2, also you really need to look at the pattern properly because it's so easy to get lost because there's just so much happening. Chain 2 and then come down and work a double crochet in the same stitch, so a double crochet in that same position, and now you've joined the halfway mark. We're now going to do the same idea in reverse order, more or less. Chain 3 again, so 1, 2, 3 chain spaces, or chains I should say, skip 4 stitches, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, skip, and work a double crochet. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then come immediately to the next chain space here on your motif, so immediately the next one, so that one there, and work a slip stitch through that. Chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and come down and work a double crochet in the same position. And it's getting really full here. I hope you can all still see. Chain 2. So now we're at the chain 2 pits again. Skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, skip, and work a double crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and skipping. Now we do skip a chain space, and now we again need to pay attention and see that we grab the right loop, because we're going to skip that chain space and then take this one. Slip stitch, chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, come down for a double crochet in the same position. Chain 2, skipping 3 stitches on the blanket, so it's 1, 2, 3, and work a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and skipping 1 stitch, 1 space I should say. I'm going to skip that space and then come to the next one. Skipping that one, come to the next, and work a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, chain, then come down and a double crochet in the same position. Chain 2, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and work a double crochet. Chain 2, again going to skip 1 space, 1 chain space, let me check. I'm going to skip that one and then come to this one. So every time just double check which space you need. Come on, here we go. Slip stitch, chain 2 to come back down, and a double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 2, and now we're going to do the little bits with only the chain 1s, and this will do 5 times. So chain 2, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, double crochet. Chain 1, again skipping the next chain space, so I'm going to skip this one, come to the next, slip stitch, chain 1, come back down for the double crochet in the same position. And this we do 4 more times now. 1, 2, chain 2. Let me just move everything again. And I do hope you can still see, because I'm really doing an effort to keep everything in view, but it's just really difficult. Chain 2, then skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, work a double crochet. Chain 1, skipping, let me just double check, yes, skipping that chain space and taking this one. And a slip stitch there, chain 1, and a double crochet. So that was 2, again chain 2, skip 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 stitches, double crochet, chain 1, and again look on the motif, where are we at with the corner shape. Skipping this chain space, we take the next, chain 1, and come back down. 1, 2 chain, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, double crochet, chain 1, again skipping, just double check, skipping that chain space, come to the next, chain 1 and a double crochet, and I think I've now done 4, but let me just check, because you need to do 5. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, because here we had the chain 2 bit. So yes, I've now done 4. Excuse me. I need one more, so that's chain 2, then skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, double crochet, chain 1, skip that chain space and come to the next, slip stitch, chain 1, come down for the double. Not almost there, we've almost joined the first corner. Chain 3, now it's a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip 2 chain spaces on the chain 5, on the corner space, so on the corner shape we're going to skip 2 chain spaces, so that's 1, 2. Let me just, I hope you can see. So we're going to skip this space and that space and then come to this one here. So that space there, I'm going to work a slip stitch in that space. And then chain 1, only chain 1, and skipping 3 stitches on the blanket, so it's 1, 2, 3 stitches, work a treble. See, I'm almost used to working doubles, but 1, 2, 3 skip, and then work a treble. Chain 1, and a slip stitch in the next chain space. So this one, so grab the next space, slip stitch in there, chain 1, and now a double treble. It's going to skip the next stitch on the blanket, so skipping that stitch, and then next work a double treble. 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, chain 1, going to skip, and now we're back on the main blanket again. So chain 1, skipping the next stitch, work a double treble again. So we need 2 double trebles. I also really need to keep paying attention. So we've got 2 double trebles. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work a treble. And this we do 10 times. So it's 1, chain 1, skip a stitch, work a treble. So that's 2. And let me just move everything again. It's 2, chain 1, skip a stitch, it's 3, chain 1, skip a stitch, 4, chain 1, skip a stitch, 5, chain 1, skip a stitch, 6, chain 1, skip a stitch, 7. This goes nice and fast. This goes nice and fast, and that's really a relief, because after that first corner you like a few easy stitches. And I believe this is 10. Let me just check. So those were the first 2 double trebles, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I need one more. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and treble. There you go. So now you've done 10 trebles, and this is the point where we start the repeat again. So now you would start with chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble, and this would be then the first, remember we did them 8 times at the beginning. So I'm just going to take this out. because this is the end of the repeat. And everything you've just done, and it's a lot, I know it's a lot, so all of this joining, everything, you do this 3 more times. You see here now you would start again with these series of stitches, and then you can grab your next corner. Take your time on this, and when you're all the way around, close to your first stitch, and then we'll take it from there on the next round. Round 66. Important, change to hook size A. That's important. And now let's start. I'm going to just start with a chain 4. 2, 3, 4. And this counts as your first stitch. This is a double treble. Then in the same stitch, work 2 more double trebles. So that's 1 and 2. So we've got 3 double trebles in that stitch. Now we're going to start the repeat that you'll be doing all the way around. So chain 3. So we'll be doing a repeat around the corner, which you do 4 times. Chain 3. Then I'm going to yarn over twice because we're going to do a double treble, and we're going to do that in the second treble here. So you're going to skip the first treble, then come to the second. And that's 1, yarn over twice, 2, yarn over twice, and 3. Now we need to do this 4 times. That was 1, chain 3, skip the first treble, come to the second. So 1, 2, 3 times, chain 3, again twice over, so we're going to do the double treble, skip a treble and come to the stitch after. So 1, 2, 3. So now I've done this little bit 3 times. I need 1 more. Chain 3, skip a stitch and come to the next. So 1, 2, 3. So now you've done this 4 times. If all went right, you have 2 more double trebles left before you get to the corner shape. Chain 3, and I'm going to yarn over 3 times because I'm going to do a triple treble in the second of these 2 double trebles you have here. It's a triple treble. And then 1, 2, 3 times yarn over because we're going to be doing 3 of these triple trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times yarn over. 1, 2, 4. There's 3 times a triple treble in that last stitch. I just need to move my blanket because it's getting really large and you're only seeing a tiny bit in front of the camera, but the rest is still all on my lap. Now we're now going to come up to the corner shape. I just want to show you where we're going to work. We're going to do a double crochet 2 together, and we're going to be making it in the chain 2 space of the corner shape. Now you might ask yourself, where on earth is that chain 2 space? It's here, where my hook is in right now, because here is the long stitch and here is the long stitch, and there's the chain 2 in the middle. Remember? Because you made the standing long stitch, chain 2, and then a long stitch again, and then this is your next long stitch as well. So you're going to make it in this chain 2 space, and then in the second stitch on the edge, and that's going to be this stitch here. Why is this the second stitch? Because here this is the first stitch. So in this space and that stitch, a double crochet 2 together. So in the space, pick up a loop and then come to the second stitch, It's the first stitch in the chain 8 space. Pick up a loop and take them all off. We're now going to work 6 double crochets, and it's important to start in the next stitch, because you might be wanting to start here. Yeah, but this is not your next stitch, because you see this is the first stitch, this is the one that you just made the two together in. So you need to come here. This is your next stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, 6 double crochets. Now a half treble 3 together over the next 3 stitches. So over these 3 stitches, a half treble 3 together. A half treble goes yarn over, then insert into the stitch and pick up a loop. Then yarn over for the next leg in the next stitch, pick up a loop. Yarn over in the next stitch, pick up a loop, and all of these loops, they go at once. That's your half treble 3 together. A half treble in the next stitch, so it's just the one, and that's the next stitch. And now a double crochet in the next 12 stitches. It's 1, 2, and I might make a small jump here. 3, 4, 12. So that's 12 double crochets. On the next 3 stitches, a half treble. It's 1, 2, 3. Then on the next 3 stitches, a treble 3 together. It's 1, 2, 3 times 3 legs, and take them all off. In the next 14 stitches, a treble. It's 1, 2, 3. You're going to work 14, 4. And this is stitch number 14, so that's 14 trebles. In the next 23 stitches, and that should actually bring you exactly to the corner, work a double treble on every stitch. So twice over, in the next stitch, a double treble. And like I said, it's just 23, and if everything went well, you should now be exactly at the corner. And if it's not, then you most likely skip too many or too few stitches somewhere along the line. And this is the last one. This is number 23, if all went right. Now you're at the corner. In the corner, going to work a double treble, chain 2, and a double treble. That's twice over in that space. So this is your new corner made. A double treble, chain 2, and twice over. So that's your new corner. Turn my work for the next edge of the square. On the next 26 stitches, work a double treble again. So 2 times yarn over. Here's your first stitch. So 26 double trebles. And let's again keep counting. It's important to keep counting. 26 double trebles. Number 26. 26 double trebles from the corner. Now in the next 11 stitches a treble, so 11 trebles. So 1, 2, 11 trebles. Over the next 3 stitches a treble 3 together. I've done this also on the other side. So 1 leg, second leg, third leg, and they're all off in one go. Continue with half trebles. A half treble on the next 3 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3 half trebles, and then double crochets on the next 12. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 12. 12 double crochets. The next stitch, a half treble. That's 1. So I think those were 12. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12 double crochets, and now 1 half treble. Then over the next 3 stitches, a half treble 3 together. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pick up, and yarn over, pick up. They all go together, all in one go. A half treble again in the next stitch, and then over the next 5 stitches a double. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. We're now going to work a double crochet 2 together over the next stitch and the chain space here. So in the next stitch, pick up a loop and come to the chain space and pick up a loop and bring them together. Double crochet 2 together. We're going to come down to the stitches from round 65, so these stitches here. We're going to skip this first double treble and come to the second, and then there we work 3 triple trebles. So that means 3 times yarn over, and in that, so you see this one you're skipping and come to that one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn overs and taking them off. So again 3 times yarn over and then 4 times taking them off. 2, and that's 3. So that's 3 triple trebles. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we skip the next stitch, this next treble stitch. I'm going to skip that and come to the stitch after and work 3 double trebles in there. It's 1, 2, and 3. We do this 5 times in total, so that's once, and then chain 3 again. Skipping this one, come to the next. We do 4 more, so that's 1. And these long stitches again, they are real yarn eaters. 2, 3. So now I've done it twice. I need to do 3 more, so chain 3. Skipping the next treble, come to the treble after. That's 1, 2, 3, and again chain 3, skipping this stitch, come to the stitch after. So 1, 2, 3. That was 3 repeats. So one more time. Chain 3, skipping this treble, come to the next. 1, 2, 3. And now you're at the end of the repeat unit. So now you're going to start everything again, which means that you still have a few more of these groups to do, and then you work up and around your next corner. So all these stitches, everything, go all the way around. I can't find my beginning, but when you're back at the beginning, join to the top of that chain 4 we started with and fasten off. Round 67, I have color 2 on my hook. We're finally using a new color again. And we're going to start in any chain to corner space. So it doesn't matter which chain space you take, because you're going to have to do one edge and then that's the repeat for your entire square. So in any chain to corner space, start with the standing double crochet, chain 2, and then a double crochet in the same space. That new chain 2 is of course your new corner. So start the repeats on the first edge. Chain 2, we're going to skip the next stitch, and especially this first one, notice that stitch that you're skipping. Then come to the second stitch and work a double crochet. Now we've done this once. You're going to do this 31 times in total, so you need to do 30 more. So chain 2, skip a stitch and a double crochet. So that was number 2. Chain 2, skip a stitch and a double crochet. That was number 3. Repeat this until you've done it 31 times. I'll see you back at that point. So chain 2, skip a stitch and then a double crochet. So I'll see you back when you've done this 31 times, and then you'll be about halfway your blanket, or maybe more, a third. I'll see you back at that point. So I've now done the repeat 31 times, and this is the point where you end up. So you're just in front, just before your first series of, I'm going to call this group of stitches. Now, chain 2, so, and again skipping the next stitch. That's going to be this, I believe that was a double crochet 2 together. Then come to the next stitch, and this we're going to repeat a few times. In the first stitch, work a double crochet, and that's the first of these 3 stitches, this group. So work a double crochet in there, and now we're going to work a front post treble cluster around the middle of the 3 stitches, so around the center one. So I'm going to yarn over for the treble, then come around the stitch, pick up a loop and take off 2, and then we repeat that. So yarn over, come around the stitch, pick up a loop, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off. And then in the next stitch, that's going to be the 3rd stitch of these 3, work a double crochet, and that stitch might be just a little bit hidden by the cluster. So in the first of the 3 you work a double, around the center one you work that cluster, and in the 3rd you work a double crochet. Then chain 1 and skip the chain space, and then repeat what you just did here on the 2nd group of stitches. This we're going to do that 10 times, and that'll bring you, well, basically to the other side. So I'll show you the repeat again. Oh, sorry, my blanket is just so heavy. Okay, so this was the first repeat. That's the first repeat. So the second repeat, a double crochet in the first stitch, then a front post treble, so only 1 yarn over, 2 treble cluster, that's 1, 2, take them all off, and then here in the end you're really gonna have to just look for that stitch, might be a little bit hidden, double crochet, chain 1, skip the next space, this one, and then come to the next group and repeat. So double crochet around the center, work the cluster, 2 treble cluster, front post, the last one a double crochet, chain 1. Now done the repeat 3 times with you, so you're going to do 7 more, and that will bring you to the other side here. That's the point where I'll see you again. When you've done this 10 times, then I'll show you just the last part and of the first edge. When you've done the repeat 10 times, this is the point where you'll be right now. Also remember that chain 1. Now we're going to move to the last group of stitches, and we're going to repeat it one more time. So in the first stitch, a double crochet around the center stitch, that cluster, and in the last stitch a double crochet again. Now we're going to head up to the side, so these all these stitches here, and work our way back to the corner. Let me just find, where's my thread? There we go. Chain 2. I'm going to skip the next stitch. It's going to be this one here. Where is it? And that's the next stitch. I'm going to skip that stitch. That's again the double crochet 2 together, and then come to the stitch after and work a double crochet. And again, this we repeat 31 times, so it's the same as on the other side. So chain 2, skip a stitch, and work a double. Chain 2, skip a stitch, and work a double. So now I've done the repeat 3 times with you. Do this 31 times, and then you'll be almost to the corner. I'll see you back at that point again. When you've done the repeat 31 times, you should be almost to the corner. You should have 1 stitch left and then the corner. So we do a chain 2, then skip the last stitch and come to your corner for a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. And then this corner is the same as this corner we started with. So on this edge, repeat everything 3 more times, close on your first stitch and fasten off. Round 68, I have color 3 on my hook here, and we're going to start in any corner space, so the chain 2 corner space. Start there with a standing double crochet in that corner space. Chain 2, and again a double crochet. And that's your new corner made. Now the repeats on the edge. We're going to start with a smaller repeat. Chain 2, 1, 2. Skipping the next stitch, that's this stitch, then come to the chain space and work a double crochet in there. We do this 28 times. That was 1, chain 2, double crochet in the next chain space, chain 2, and a double crochet in the next chain space. That was 3 times. Do this 28 times, and then you'll be at about 1/3 of your blanket, and then we'll start making the flame motifs. So for now, chain 2, double crochet in the chain space 28 times, then I'll see you back. I've now done the repeat 28 times. This is where I am right now. We've got a few chain spaces left. Chain 2, and then in the next chain space a half treble, chain 2, in the next chain space again a half treble, chain 2, and in the next chain space treble, chain 2, and in the next chain space a double treble. And now you should have worked a stitch in all of your chain spaces, and you're now at these groups of 3 stitches. That's what we're going to be working on now. We're going to be working 3 front post stitches that we're going to grab together, and we're going to work that on each one of these groups with chain 2s in between. Now, what we're going to be doing, let me grab my hook. Around this post we work a front post triple treble, then around here, so you see here I've got the 2 together stitch, so around the 2 together stitch we work a front post double treble, and then around the long stitch here again we work a triple treble front post. So you're going to work these two. The first and the last stitch is around the stitches from round 66, and the middle one is around the stitch here from round 67. So let's make that stitch. Grab my loop. There we go. So the first is a triple treble, so that's 3 times yarn over. Then come around the stitch from round 66, that first stitch. Then take off 2, take off 2, take off 2, and stop. A double treble, so that's twice over, and then come around the 2 together stitch. Take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, 3 loops on your hook. Again 3 times yarn over, and now come to the last stitch from round 66 of the 3. Take off 2, take off 2, take off 2, 4 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. And that is this big front post stitch. Chain 2, and now we repeat this on the next group. So you're going to work this big front post stitch on all of these groups. I'm going to do that 11 times in total, and there'll be chain 2s in between. I'll show you again. So 3 times yarn over, come to the first stitch, 1, 2, 3 times, take off 2 loops, then yarn over twice, come around the center stitch, so the 2 together stitch, and then 3 times yarn over again for the last post. 1, 2, 3 times yarn over, and then they all go at once. Chain 2, and repeat again. I'll show you once more, and then I'll see you back when you've done this for all of them. And after your last group of this front post stitch, you don't make the chain 2. So the chain 2 at the end, you don't make the chain 2. Just like here, there was no chain 2 at the beginning, so there isn't one at the end either. 3 times yarn over, 1, 2, oh yeah, let me just do that one again. 1, 2, 3, then twice over. The center stitch here, the 2 together stitch, and 3 times yarn over here for the last one. 2, 3, take them all off. Chain 2 so as to go to the next group here. So I've now done 3 times with you. You need to do this 11 times in total, and on after your last repeat you don't make that chain 2. I'll see you when you've done these treble stitches on all 11 of these groups. And when you've done the last repeat, this is where you're at right now. So you see no chain 2. We're now immediately going to continue, and here on the edge we're going to do the same as on the other side. I'm going to start with a double treble. That's twice over. Then here in the first chain space, this chain space is just slightly behind your stitches. That first one, work a double treble. Chain 2, and come to the next chain space for a treble. Chain 2, the next chain space a half treble, chain 2, and again a half treble, And now chain 2 and a double crochet in the next stitch. And you're going to do that, I believe, 28 times. That'll bring you to the corner. That's 2, chain 2. This is very, so repeat the chain 2 double crochet in the chain space 28 times, and then you'll be just before the corner. I'll see you back at that point. When you've done this 28 times, this is the point where you'll be right now. And you should have, well, your next opening is the corner. Chain 2, and come to the corner stitch and work a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. And then that's your next corner. And now on the next edge, repeat everything that we just done. Go all the way around, join to your first stitch, and fasten off. And that brings us to the end of part 4, on which we really had a lot of work to do and a lot of details to work out. I hope to see you next time for part 5.